name is Mike Winters, and I work for a company called Branch Metrics. And Branch is based in Palo Alto, California, but I'm the one-person operation in Berlin, Germany. So do all things Europe for Branch and a little bit of product management as well.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Guillaume, CEO of Picturing. We are one of the photo printing leaders on mobile in the US, especially on Android. We are running the whole business from Toulouse. And so yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So hey, I'm Martin, currently product manager at BlaBlaCar, formerly member of the growth team at BlaBlaCar. And so BlaBlaCar is a long-distance city-to-city ride-sharing solution where basically driver going somewhere can publish their rides and passenger will jump in and share the cost of the journey.
Hi everyone, I'm Alexandra. I've been working in mobile apps for like 4 years. Mainly in marketing fields and on mobile games, educational games and such things. And now I'm a freelancer, so well, that's it, on mobile marketing.
Awesome, lots of great clapping, we'll keep that going. So I'm going to kick off with something probably slightly more technical, but I think something that's super relevant at the moment. So. Deep linking is something that has been around on the web for a long, long time. I remember back in the day, on e-commerce, it was very easy to take a link, put it into wherever you need, and it would go straight to the page. Now, with mobile, it's slightly different. So I'm actually really glad that we've got some from Branch here. So I think the first question for me is, tell us, just give us an overview of deep linking. I think as number one, and then just give us a brief insight into how easy or hard it is to actually implement specifically for mobile.
Sure. So Branch came about because the founders, they'd met at graduate school at Stanford and had built an app together as a side project while they were in school, and realized that they didn't have the money to sustain growth via paid campaigns, and so wanted to build some referral tooling so that people who were using their app could share what they found in the app and liked with others, and then friends could come in and see the same content, and realized that there wasn't a good tool to do that. And so they built what became Branch just to support their own app, and then shortly thereafter realized that this Branch product was a lot cooler than the app, and abandoned the app and turned Branch into a full-time company. And so the long short of it, what they wanted to do was to get people who were installing an app for the first time to the right content inside the app, to what they were expecting to see after installing, because the big problem is that app stores pull away any context that a user has after clicking a link when an app's not already installed. And so what Branch enables and what other platforms who offer deep linking enable is the ability to get someone directly to a piece of content after an install the first time they're coming into an app. And as for implementation, what we usually see is that getting the Branch SDK or a similar SDK into an app can take as little as 3 or 4 minutes. So the SDK itself, really easy to get into place, but that's what we all say, any company that offers an SDK. And so we see, most of the time a team can set up deep link routing within a day or so a day of developer time, and usually see significant gains in retention, user engagement, make that time worthwhile.
Awesome, thank you very much. And Guillaume, so I know that you're currently using deep linking.
Yeah.
So it would just be really good for everyone to understand, how as a brand you're actually using it.
Okay, sure. So the magic with deep linking is that you can re-onboard the user the way you sell the app. So for example, if let's say you have an ad saying, hey, you can use this, you can purchase this in our app with a 20% off, and you can onboard the user with directly. You apply the coupon inside. This is their first experience, and this is great. Or you can, I don't know. For example, we do photo printing, so we can advertise something like, let's say, print your wedding photos, and the first thing you can see in the app is not the basic first screen is a wedding thing and say, hey, when is your wedding or anything. You can do it's really magical in terms of user experience. First time the user is exposed to the app, and I definitely believe this is great.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And Martin, so I understand you're also involved in deep linking. It'd be good to understand actually, just to set the scene a little bit, let's say we're on the web, right? And you're running some PPC, for instance, or someone searches BlaBlaCar and they find you. You know, do you take them straight to mobile web? Do you take them to the app? If they've installed it, if they haven't installed it? What's the kind of strategy around that, if you've got one?
So typically, and the first thing we'll do if you're on the web is that installing an app by itself is not using a product. Mm-hmm. So if you land on the mobile web, for example, we'll try and make you complete your first key action on the mobile web and then push the app afterwards, mm-hmm. because what we want you to do first is use our product. But what happened quite a lot actually is that people just don't remember they have your app installed because it's somewhere in a folder. And so we have an automatic redirection. Actually, if let's say you're looking at a specific ride, so going from like Paris to Lyon on Friday nights, and you try to go there on the mobile web, and what we're going to do is that we're actually going to automatically deep link you to the exact same trip in the app, because we know that's where the user experience is way better, mm-hmm. and that's where you want you to be, basically.
Okay. And to that point, so you might not be able to give so much information, but I mean, have you seen like an increase in conversion post deep link, for instance?
I'll say no. It's more than an increase of conversion. Mm-hmm. It's actually a better retention because you get your users used to use your app, mm-hmm. and basically you're winning that spot on the home screen. It's like maybe you will get out of that folder and actually land on the home screen, which is where you want to be. Basically.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
And I think it's great for retargeting. And this is maybe the main usage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just take them straight to the right page. Brilliant. And then just finally, Mike, with regards to a strategy specifically for acquisition, any tips for anyone looking to choose deep linking specifically for acquisition?
Yeah, so I think that one of the use cases that has become really popular with Branch is mobile web to app optimization and trying to acquire users via the mobile web. So we actually see a number of partners who have a lot of rich mobile web content, maybe just as much content on the mobile web as inside an app. And sometimes they'll choose to take a user to their mobile website rather than directly to the App Store, and then include a banner on the website that allows the user to install the app and then be deep linked to the same content. But again, using a mobile website and thinking about a mobile web as a complementary strategy to acquiring users, the app is something that's been really successful. And again, seeing more and more interest in that from our partners.
Awesome, thank you very much. Brilliant. Okay, so I think the next sort of topic we're going to move on to is app store optimization, how we can really get the most out of that. So I'm going to go straight over to Alex at the end. Here she is. So let's just just generally about optimization. I think one point that I really want to talk about just initially is actually more around localization. So I understand that you work with quite a few different brands, and as a freelancer you probably work with a few different. So how important is localization?
Yeah, well, localization definitely must do. When I was working for Brave Frontier RPG, it's a mobile game, sort of Final Fantasy and mixed with Pokemon. It's a Japanese editor, and we were running the European market in 7 languages. It was really quite a challenge because we had to localize everything for the app stores, like text, screenshots, and descriptions and keywords. For these 7 languages, 7 countries, we had some people from native language which were helping us, and it's quite important because the more you go close to the local people, to your local user, the best they will receive your app store optimization. Well, all your screenshots and things, and it's also more about just translation. It can be also about the graphics. For example, with this game, we realized that Russian people were not reacting the same than the French people on the same graphics, so we had to adapt the style of graphics also.
Brilliant. Oh, sorry. Brilliant. Thank you. I'm actually going to jump to the game quickly. So, I understand Picture's been incredibly successful, and you've done, from what I understand, a huge amount of that has been organic growth, and a lot of it apparently through ASO. So, I think it'd be great for everyone to understand kind of how you began that journey.
Sure.
And also how how it's progressed and the type of growth that you've actually seen specifically from just optimizing your listings.
Okay. So when we began, it was on Google Play. It was three or 4 years ago. Yeah. And basically, you could do anything with the algorithm. I mean, it was, we managed to be with the keyword Tumblr before Tumblr in India, because we used Tumblr in the title, and it was easy to trick the algorithm. Now it's still possible, but more complicated. And the thing is, the ASO is super simple compared to the SEO today. And Google Play and iOS, I mean, they're doing such a bad job at ranking apps. And iOS just released something, an update of a good update in November. And now they're more working like Google Play on the contextual keywords. So the thing is, they are parsing the reviews, the review of the users, and they're extracting the keywords directly like that. So you don't, the list of keywords you're using on iOS is less and less important. And I think it's a great thing. So now you just have to find a way to hack the reviews, but it's another thing. But what really works great is the description on Google Play. If you add several times the same keyword, let's say photo print, for example, and if you use it the right amount of time, it's easy to gain 10 ranks, something like that.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And Martin, I understand you're also running some ASO as well. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about testing, because we tend to talk a lot about keywords, which quite rightly has a huge impact. But of course, we know that the visual aspect can have a huge impact, on conversion and acquisition as well. So just give us some insight into the type of A/B testing that you've been doing. I think it'd be really interesting as well if you could just talk about iOS and also about Google as well, if possible.
Sure. I'm going to start with Google Play because it's way easier, since they released their A/B testing tool not that long ago, actually. So we started with really simple things. I'll say we never really touch the title, but more about the description and the way we present our app. If you think about it, like the ASO page, like your app description, it's a bit of a mix between your landing page where all your marketing campaigns are coming. So you have people that don't know your brand, don't know your service, and you actually have to explain quite a lot what you're doing. But also where you're gonna receive all your organic traffic. So you need to find something in the middle that's gonna be educative enough for people that just don't know what you're doing, and that's gonna be pushy enough also to make them take the action and download the app. So that's the first thing that we did. Honestly, so far on iOS, we've been replicating what we've done on the Google Play A/B testing, because you just can't A/B test in a proper way, I'll say, like in a scientific way on iOS. And I'll say on top of that, the huge issue with the A/B testing as it is right now for the app description is that basically the only metrics that you can benchmark with is the number of installs. And like everybody here knows, like it's not because you get installs that you're actually getting users. And so you may have a difficulty to actually know where is the business impact of what you're doing here.
Brilliant. And Alex, I can see you nodding quite a bit there. Is there anything else to add to that?
Yeah, well, we're just thinking that, yes, A/B testing surely during soft launching was really important, because this is where you will see your conversion and test your conversions and all these things. So I believe that A/B testing is really important before launching your app, and this is where it's quite important.
Can I add something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So basically, I recommend you to test everything with this A/B test thing on Google Play. For example, we tested a video. I mean, everybody is saying, "Oh yeah, let's shoot a video," and the thing is, the video converted less than just a screenshot. And we didn't understand. We paid for this video. The video was great, but it didn't convert as well as the photo. So test everything.
So, and on that point, so do you think it's important, and this is actually a question to all of you actually with actual products, so do you think it's important to replicate searches in the copy, or do you think it's more important to have the information about the product, let's say? So like I'll give you an example, like you might have a pizza delivery company, and it might have all the information around, you can do your orders and you can track it and but it doesn't actually say pizza delivery. So what are your thoughts on that? I'll ask Guillaume first.
You mean how to stuff keywords in the description?
Not stuffing, but you've got 5 screenshots on an Apple, and obviously I think you're 8 on Google Play. So how important is it to replicate search terms in the copy of the images, as opposed to actual just information about the product?
I can't really answer that. We didn't test anything on this yet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
To be honest, for me, they actually go together, because you expect your search terms to be at least part of your product and part of what you do. So if you actually do a good job in description, what you're describing is not how your product works, but what's in it for your user.
Yeah.
So if you actually do your job right here, you should have basically the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. And then, and Alex, I know that obviously you've done quite a lot on ASO. I actually read one of your blogs recently around ASO. So how often are you advising people to actually update their apps and their descriptions?
How to update their?
Yeah, how often? The frequency of update, is it often or?
Okay, well, in fact, your timing is quite directed by the Apple timing during your releases. So I would advise that you, at every releases of Apple, you get a check on your keywords and rankings and everything, and then you can prepare everything so you made some changes or not during these releases.
Brilliant. Okay. Cool. Thank you. And we're going to open up to questions after. So look, the theme of the panel is obviously growth hacking and everything that we can do to expand our audience, with what we've got, and through earned channels. So one interesting area that people sort of complain about it, but they shouldn't really complain about it, is Facebook actually. So in the good old days, you could put it out, whatever your content on Facebook, and it would spread, to everyone. So just out of interest, outside of standard paid media, what kind of things are you doing to increase earned media across social? So it could be Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So if you've got any experience with that, or if Guillaume or...
I really don't believe that social media can help in any way your app. The thing is, people, they think, oh, I've got a viral app. No, that's wrong. Because to have a viral app, you need to have an awesome acquisition, an awesome activation, and an awesome retention. And then just people are saying, oh, yeah, I can recommend this app to my friends. And so my advice is don't try to go viral. I mean, it's very enhanced techniques. And until you reach 1 or 2 million of users, I won't recommend people to be viral.
I tend to really agree with that. Like the thing is, like, if you want to be viral, just nail the product and nail the experience, and people are going to talk about you. And basically, what we see when we launch new countries is that when just like the product market fit isn't right, and basically it's the country is not receiving your value proposition, you can do whatever you want into the product. Up until you fix that, you just won't get any virality and any organic download.
And the thing is, we try with a wrong product that was not awesome to apply growth hacking techniques. So, for example, we force people to tweet when they connected their Twitter accounts and things like that. But the thing is, you have the impression that the app is working, but it's not. And then you have the TechCrunch effect, like when you are doing PRs. Same thing, don't do PR. Nail the product and then do PR. Pure sucks, yes. Super expensive and anyway, so the thing is you're gonna have the false impression that your app's getting traction, and 3 months after you will understand that no, and you would just have lost 3 months. So just nail the product, totally agree.
Cool. And Alex?
I think that the problem with Facebook is more like they don't want us to talk to our targets freely like we used to do. So the problem is if you don't want to pay for it, that it will be quite long and painful to reach your target for free. And so you can still use some groups and communities to find your targets and talk to them. And if you can engage smartly your conversation with them, I'm sure you can find some people that can share and talk about your product and use it.
Perfect. And anything around deep linking and social? I know it's a bit obviously tricky on Facebook, but any other channels that you've seen? Any good case studies for it?
Yeah, the way we've approached it is we build a lot of sharing features into the Branch SDK to make it really simple to build great content sharing, and then to see analytics on which channels are best performing. So I'd say in terms of where we recommend apps to share, we're agnostic as to the best source, but we think it's really important to see, at a campaign level, how is channel A performing against channel B, Twitter versus Facebook, for example. And so just make it possible to actually understand what's happening without making an assumption that one platform is going to be better than another for a given piece of content, for a given campaign, and so on.
Brilliant, okay. Okay, so I'm going to do one last question. Yeah, I'll do one last question. So, I mean, I'll take the Uber example because it's worked so incredibly well for them, which is friend get friend. And that has essentially kind of built their business, passing around £10 free rides and stuff like that. So I'd be interested to know, I mean, from all of you actually on the product side, whether you've actually used Friend Get Friend, as an acquisition tool, and also how well it's performed if you've actually used it.
We tried some things around that, but I didn't convert very well.
Okay.
And everybody is saying, oh yeah, you should do like Dropbox or Uber for this, but and it's working for them because they're iterated, maybe because they have a different user base like you have. I mean, people that don't behave the same way, and it really depends on your app and who your user are and what they are looking for. I mean, try it, you'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. About that, I'd say you have to have really, really deep pocket actually to do what Uber did, because I mean, not everybody has the same unit economics as Uber and can afford to pay 10 euros upfront for a user. The thing is that I know that for us, for example, starting a referral program would actually have been shoot ourselves in the foot in two ways, because first, we have referrals organically already, so that would be basically starting paying for something that we already have. And the second part is that if you think around it, we take a commission onto a reservation that's 10% commission on average 25 euro trip, that's 2.5 euro per user. If you want to be relevant economically to somebody to recommend your app, you have to go 10 euro for each, 10 euro for the mentor and for the mentee. And that's a win back time that's huge for us in the economic business sense.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's quite a matter of how your user is perceiving the value of the benefit, immediate benefit. So he's motivated to share now your referring program, and how the receiver receive a benefit and this value versus the effort they have to do. So sometimes it worked really well. On mobile games it was really working just brilliant, and on other apps it was just no effect.
About referral, I've got one question to ask you. When was the last time you recommend an app you have on your phone to a friend? Think of that.
Yeah.
And it was it's once every two months, once every month. So imagine, I mean, it's not an obvious thing to be viral. I mean, the app has to really kick ass.
I think that's a great point. I mean, it's got to be so specific to the actual product. In a more social environment where you want to get your friends, absolutely. But then obviously the economics have got to be right as well. Brilliant, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
we are now going to, we can do a clap if you want. Woo! And brilliant, thank you. And we are going to open up to questions.
I have just one question. You all mentioned that it was quite difficult to know what's happening with your app, saying, for instance, that a download doesn't mean that you acquired the user, that he's using the app. I'm just a little bit surprised you didn't mention any
Can you
usage.
speak in the mic?
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
can you speak in the mic?
Yeah,
Don't hear
sorry.
it.
I'm just a little bit surprised you didn't mention any tracking strategy like you have for tracking SDKs installed in your app so that you really know what the guys are doing and you can deliver the real metrics. So is it something you're using, you're not using, or is it too costly? Could you elaborate on this?
Definitely tracking.
Yeah.
Tracking is everything, I mean, and you have to know exactly where your user come from, what he's doing in the app, how much money he's going to spend, and then it's a whole data thing. I mean, it's taking for an entire person on an 8-people team.
Maybe to get back to your question, what I was mentioning that when you're doing your App Store optimization on, let's say, Google Play, most of the time your tracking is totally different, and basically they just don't communicate. So the optimization you're doing on Google Play is purely on install because that's pretty much the only thing they can see. And of course, in the business side, we optimize on way more things, but you can't link the two.
And I'll just to add to that as well. So the panel have been specifically told to talk about acquisition as well, which is why we've not talked too much about retention. But yeah, to your point, I'm sure everyone, tracking holds absolutely everything together from on an attribution side and of course on an analytics side. And actually specifically for ASO, there are some quite interesting things you can do. Actually to your point around, taking an organic baseline, look at what's tracked, what's not tracked, and seeing an uplift. So yes, I'm sure everyone's using tracking. And
I strongly encourage you to really build your own solution on this, because there's no way you can have, you need to have the metrics on the UX, the metrics on your business metrics, the metrics of your technical metrics, and your segmentation metric in the same data warehouse. And there's no way you can use 4 different services to do that. So yeah, please at least log your own thing in your own database.
If people don't recommend app, the only way just like to make it increase is about like being seen, right?
Well, actually, I'll add to that. So actually, startups have actually got a really big opportunity. Actually, specifically, this is not talking about the product, but this is more so on visibility. So a lot of the big businesses that we've certainly seen, they're being taken over in the app stores by startups, because startups can afford to be nimble, they can afford to be more risky with what they're doing. So actually, I think in startup mode, you've actually got as much opportunity to get scale as a big brand. I think you just need to be really smart with what you're doing, and I think growth hacking is clearly the way forward for a startup. And also the other very, very quick thing is that you mentioned you've got 500 users. Well, someone said to me that actually in order to test you only need 2 people to see whether it's good or not. And obviously you want as more people as you possibly can. But I think in this day and age, just to reiterate your point, less is more, and test, right? Cool.
Okay, well, thank you very much. A huge round of applause for our
Thanks.
first panel.
Visit appalliance.org to access resources and join a global network.